You're watching Toronto Sports Rush on the Bet Rivers Network.
It's Wednesdays with Keegs, who is in the home of Laverne and Shirley.
What a blessing.
Do they have a museum for them there?
They must. They got a lot of museums here. You know, I need to go to the Harley-Davidson Museum one of these times, but I think Milwaukee is the perfect place for the Harley-Davidson Museum. You know, I'm sure there's a reason. Like, I'm sure it started here or something, but if I had to pick on a map where people want to go look at Harleys, it's in beautiful Wisconsin.
The Toronto Blue Jays, maybe they'll erect a monument as to Tuesday night's game being the game that fixed everything, because it was another one where they claw back, they get the lead, a blown save, yet somehow they win it.
It was a mess. You know, I'm trying to determine, Dan, where the line is between when we call things a Blue Jays win, and I'm guilty of this. Last night felt like a Blue Jays win. Does that mean everyone contributed and it was a great all-around baseball game, or does that mean the game kind of sucked and they won somehow? You know? And I think the answer might be the latter a little more often lately, because the Blue Jays offense was not good in the early innings. When Jeff Hoffman came in, it was not good. But they found a way. And it started with a few of the usual suspects lately, namely Davis Schneider. Like, Dan, we've talked a bit about Davis Schneider lately. I think he's one of the most important players on this team right now, especially with Springer out, especially with Alejandro Kirk out, Addison Barger out. Davis Schneider feels like he's in the perfect place right now. He's being used the right way. He's doing the right things. He knows who he is as a player. He's not trying to be Ernie Clement and bat 300. Like, he knows he's in there just to hit a ball hard and break a game open. And he did that. You know, it was his big double in the ninth that made that into a game. It changed the whole energy of it. That's when Vladdy and Miles Straw and Okamoto and everyone else could do their thing. So it was a very good win. Otherwise, we'd be talking about a 6-10 team headed down a very dark path. 7-9 feels a lot different. You know, if you feel like you're sniffing 500 here, and it feels like every good team in baseball is kind of floundering around right now. Like, any Blue Jays fan who's panicking, keep panicking. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life, but I would encourage you just to look at the standings. Like, they're weird standings. They're messy standings right now.
Yeah, no one's running away with it, and everyone else is dealing with injuries of their own. And the Jays starting pitching, it's now become, if the Jays ever got, say, I don't know, pretend we're like in the 1990s, they got 8 innings from a starter, that would be front page news across the country.
It would save the season. I mean, at this point, Dylan Cease, he's not the 8-inning guy. He's been a lot of, I feel like the official Dylan Cease start is 5 1/3 innings. Like, that's his thing. 5 1/3, 5 1/3. We'll see tonight. He tends to start off a little slow. He needs to find the zone, but as a big strikeout pitcher, you're using a lot of pitches. But I think, Dan, it's going to get a lot easier coming up soon. You're going to have Trey Yesavage coming back. Jose Berrios is closer than I thought he was. I think that was the best news to come out of yesterday from John Schneider. Trey Yesavage probably makes one more rehab start today, Wednesday, in AAA Buffalo. I feel like I'm Schneider now, trying to remember all this crap in my brain. Yesavage today, AAA Buffalo, 4 innings, 65 pitches. If that goes well, Trey Yesavage is probably back with the Blue Jays in L.A. later on this road trip.
Oh, baby.
The really good news was Jose Berrios, who is, again, somehow pitching through a crack in his elbow. It fascinates me, but I'm going to roll with it. He is going to throw up to 50 pitches, I believe, tomorrow in Single A on Thursday. That, to me, Dan, puts him kind of one start behind Trey Yesavage. So Berrios will make this start, probably one more, and then it'll be decision time. Maybe you give him a third, but he's close enough, like he's there. That's when the Blue Jays can get back to the sweet spot of having 6 starters. Okay, at that point, Patrick Corbin gets bumped to wherever, the bullpen, off the team, I'm not sure. That could eventually bump Eric Lauer to the long man role in the bullpen, which this bullpen kind of needs. They've been burning through long men and swing men. It just hasn't worked. But I really think that once you get both of these starters back, everything just calms down. And then you don't need the 8-inning start. Because if someone blows up and only goes 3 innings, you chuck Lauer in there, you play a normal game. But it's just, it's been a stretch of baseball where like John Schneider and Pete Walker have had to do way too much thinking, man. Like I think they're doing as good a job as you can do given the circumstances, but they've just had to be way too involved instead of just letting the roster do its thing.
So good news is on the horizon. And speaking of good news, tell me if this is true or not or what you've heard. But apparently Yesavage's stuff is even nastier than it was last year. Am I hearing this correctly?
It's looked good. And if his stuff was even the exact same in Single A Dunedin, that's better to me. Because in Single A Dunedin right now, like it's not a spring training game with 5,000 people. There are a few hundred people. And it's hot, it's humid, you've got the stadium noise, but not much else. Like there's no adrenaline, there's nothing being built up down there. So as long as Yesavage is right where he should be, that's going to tick up a bit in the big leagues. And for Trey, you don't need him to throw 98, but as long as his fastball is getting up into that 95, 96, you're really happy, and it is. And his splitter, most importantly, is moving like it should be. Because we saw what that splitter does to big league hitters last year, even when they know it's coming. I don't know how easy it is to adjust to that splitter, Dan, because Kevin Gausman has been doing this for years. Over and over, like thousands of innings, hitters know the splitter is coming. And they still haven't really adjusted to it. It's not something that you can just look for because it'll still kill you. So I think that Trey Yesavage is a case where I don't think the league is just going to catch up to him like they do with some pitchers. And if he can come back with his stuff where it was, his splitter where it was, and his fastball around 95, I think he's going to dominate people. You know, we've got to see how the shoulder holds up over the course of a year. But another exciting thing, Dan, is that this has naturally taken care of any workload questions. Like, I think at this point you just let him pitch. And that was going to be the awkward thing going into the season. Like, were you going to pull him back in the middle of June and make him throw 2 innings a few times in a row? That would have sucked. I would have been asked the worst questions in the world on sports radio by hockey hosts. And it's like, you know, it's just like, it would have been a mess, right? So I think now that he's missed a few weeks, that just takes care of itself. If he pitches the rest of the year, you probably land in that 130, 140 range, and it's cool.
You describing those minor league games, you don't want Rick Bowness to hear that. I don't know if you heard Rick Bowness's comments. He would go down there and tell them, this is Game 7 of the World Series, every game.
I love that, but like I always watch these, selfishly, I watch them, I'm like, God damn, I want quotes like that. Yeah. Come on, like I need someone melting down and tearing players apart now. Things are too pleasant around here.
What can you tell us about the Lenyn Sosa? This is
Lenyn.
If you saw highlights, you would have seen Sosa sliding into third, and you're like, who the hell is this guy?
Yeah, he needs to work on the slide a little bit. You know, kind of buckled his leg and took a glove to the face. But, you know, welcome to the Blue Jays. He was a really good player for the White Sox last year. Like, he was a valuable player who hit for some power, put the ball in play a ton. And this was swapping out depth for Tyler Fitzgerald, who Blue Jays fans might be saying, who is that? Because he didn't play a game. But he was on the roster for a bit. They're trying to find someone to be the reserve infielder and balance out the fact that they have 1,000 outfielders and not enough infielders. In spring training, it was going to be Leo Jimenez. That didn't work. He was not inspiring enough. They traded for Tyler Fitzgerald. There wasn't really a spot for him because he's way too similar to Davis Schneider. Here in Lenyn Sosa, I think they've found at least a good shot at it, which is in a player who can make a lot of contact, which fits the Blue Jays, but also land some power. And that's who the Blue Jays need to be. So far this season, Dan, the Blue Jays have looked like their 2024 version, which is tons of contact that doesn't go anywhere. And contact only matters if it's hard. They are in the bottom 5 of the league in their average exit velocity. They're just not hitting the ball hard enough. So someone like Lenyn Sosa fits into that mold, a little beyond Ernie Clement towards Davis Schneider again, where you're putting the ball in play, but you have to hit it hard, and that matters. He can help on the bases. It'll be a little cleaner than you saw there. He can play second, third, first base. And in a world where George Springer and Addison Barger come back healthy in the next couple weeks, Dan, I think it could end up being a decision. Now, someone else will get hurt in the meantime. This will turn into a mess. But it could end up in a decision between whether you keep Lenyn Sosa on the roster or Nathan Lucas, who is right now 0 for 20 in April, and an outfielder who's kind of struggling to get reps, and I think that'll continue. If you shift that roster spot to Lenyn Sosa, then it simplifies itself. Then you have a reserve infielder. You don't need to bring in David Schneider or Addison Barger from the outfield every couple of days, and the roster makes a lot more sense in that scenario.
John Schneider had maybe, if you nitpick, which we love to do, his comments regarding Jeff Hoffman following Tuesday night's win in Milwaukee. I'm going to paraphrase, said, yep, we thought we could relax. We had the lead in the ninth. Our closer comes in, and then that didn't work out. So he kind of said bad things about his closer, if you read between the lines, and he doesn't usually say that.
Yeah, it's as close as he'll get, too. You know, John Schneider has really, really, really stood behind Jeff Hoffman. This happened all last year, and it's going to happen again this year. Like, I know people are going to want me to tweet at 4 p.m. today. John Schneider has announced Louis Varland is the closer. Number one, they won't announce it like that if it ever does happen. It'll just happen. But it's not going to happen this time. And I think it would still take a long run of bad outings. And the stench of last year has carried over to a pretty significant extent, I think. But if I were to ask John Schneider about that today, I spend too much time asking him questions. I feel bad for the guy, but I know exactly how he'd answer, which is that going into yesterday, Jeff Hoffman had struck out 17 batters in 7 2/3 innings. And yes, there had been a couple home runs, but his stuff looked great. I trust Jeff Hoffman, etc., etc. And the problem here, Dan, or maybe just a factor, like a kind of a sticky factor here. A lot of people want Louis Varland to be the closer. I think that Louis Varland is too valuable to make the closer. And I know that sounds counterintuitive because you want your best guy at the closer. Right now, they're moving Louis Varland around wherever they possibly can for the biggest spot in the game. And that's really important, to kind of have that movable piece set up, man. Tyler Rogers is more the guy you put in just to keep a cap on the game. He's a great, unexciting pitcher, and I mean that in the highest complimentary way. Like, he just keeps the game where it is. Louis Varland is the guy where you pick your spots to put him in when everything's on fire, or when you need a shutdown inning no matter what. And I think it's so important to keep him in that movable role, not just waiting until the ninth inning for him to come out. Because the alternative is moving Jeff Hoffman around. Today you're in the sixth, today you're the eighth, I don't see it working. The solution here is for Jeff Hoffman to be good every time and be their closer. And it hasn't been working flawlessly. But to a certain extent, I do have to agree, or at least acknowledge, with what John Schneider would say, which is that when Hoffman's been good this year, I mean, damn, he's missing every bat. He's striking out most hitters. But there just keeps being this but. Like, if we got the good version of Jeff Hoffman across a whole season, he'd win a Cy Young award. I mean, like, his peak is incredibly dominant. But you can't just write off these bad ones as bad luck. I know a lot of people want to try that. It's not just bad luck. It's not just batted ball fortune. They got to find a way to avoid these. And the walks were more worrying to me. Like, those walks were almost more worrying than the home runs, Dan, because you just can't be losing the zone like that when you're a closer.
I saw a clip of Louis Varland signing autographs on his way to the ballpark in Toronto. Looks like he rides a scooter to the game. And the thing that struck me was Louis Varland in street clothes looks like he's a 14-year-old boy.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got some boyish charm. And also, get him off that scooter, man. If I'm the Blue Jays, I have Louis Varland in
especially right now. You're putting everyone in bubble wrap on the way to the park.
Oh yeah, and especially where the players exit, which is the same gate I exit, which I will not say out loud because I do not need more people there. Oh my God. But it's a chaotic scene. I can just see someone stepping in front of Louis Varland for a selfie and flipping the guy. So yeah, if you see Louis Varland on a scooter, the best thing you can do as a fan is to get very far out of his way and clear the path to wherever he's going.
Is there any truth to the rumor at the start of the year, essentially every Blue Jay was sick with a virus?
Yeah. I don't know how I avoided it, honestly. I actually thought that I'd gotten it on Monday of this week, Dan. It turns out that when you go home after a Sunday game, have 6 beers, a pizza, and a pint of gelato. I had one of the worst Mondays of my life. And I wasn't taking off to Milwaukee until Tuesday. And, like, the players who have gotten it, they were, like Eric Lauer looked like his, like, face was hollowing out. Like, they were really, really, really sick. And I thought I'd gotten it, like, the day before a road trip. And my girlfriend's kind of, softly running me through my day before. She's like, well, you did come home from work and consume about 3,000 calories. And, the pint of gelato in the freezer isn't there anymore. I'm not saying you had it, but it's not there. And I kind of added it up together. I was like, okay, I did this to myself, thank God. But they were in rough shape. A lot of them had it. I feel like this is just because I'm too far inside the Blue Jays, Dan, but I feel like I don't hear it about other teams as much. Like, the Blue Jays have 1 or 2 of these every year where they're just really sick across the board. It kills you, especially if you're a pitcher. Like, we saw Eric Lauer, he's up there throwing 88, 89, which is just not him. So that ran through the clubhouse really, really bad. I'm very lucky that I avoided it somehow, but most people did not avoid it. Like, it was pretty serious.
What was the flavor of gelato?
It was salted caramel crunch.
Oh, okay, so that'll get you.
It's the little ones from Farm Boy, because on the side, you can eat the whole thing, and it's not a huge amount of calories.
But if you go with the fruit-flavored one, it settles a lot better.
I often get the little mango one, and then there's a watermelon one also from Farm Boy. It's just, I like things that are made in a size where I can have the whole thing. Ideally, I don't do it at 1 a.m. anymore. But lesson learned. I've been trying to live a little better on this trip because I was close to meeting God on Monday. But don't have the whole tub next time.
And you probably have the same mindset that I used to have when I shopped at Whole Foods when I lived in the States. When you go to Farm Boy, you're like, Farm Boy selling it. It's got to be healthy, right?
Yeah, it's got to be organic or whatever word you throw on this stuff. Come on. Oh, if I'm picking it out of a wooden basket, this must be made by a local farmer. No. Yeah. It's
if
just
there's
a better
monkeys
branded
swinging on the vine by the bananas, this is healthy. This store, everything here is healthy.
Why not? What a store, though. Big fan.
Thanks, buddy.
You got it.
Thanks for watching Toronto Sports Rush on the Bet Rivers Network.